Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about how context, emotion, and listening shape relationships. Communication is often described as the lifeblood of relationships, but it's not just about what we say, it's also about how we say it, how we listen, and how our backgrounds shape the way we interpret messages. To illustrate, I'll use Jared and Lena's story to show how verbal and nonverbal communication need to align. Along the way, I'll share research with McGinty, Knox, and Zussman, 2003, and Yo and Noyes, 2015, to explain why recognizing emotions and listening well makes such a difference. Let's start with context. Jared comes from a family where emotions weren't openly expressed. Support usually meant giving advice or offering a solution. Lena, however, grew up in a home where emotional expression and nonverbal empathy were emphasized. For her, being cared for looks like being heard and validated. These different contexts create expectations. Jared thinks offering a solution is loving, while Lena feels most loved when her emotions are acknowledged. The difference highlights a common challenge in relationships. Our personal histories shape the lens through which we interpret communication. Without recognizing these differences, partners often fall into cycles of miscommunication. Jared might feel proud that he is helping, while Lena walks away feeling that her needs were ignored. By understanding each other's context, they can reframe how they interpret one another's intentions and avoid unnecessary conflict. Next, emotions play a powerful role in shaping communication. Emotions aren't just feelings, they are signals about needs, boundaries, and desires. For example, when Lena shares that she's stressed, she isn't asking Jared for a solution. She's signaling her need for comfort and reassurance. Research backs this up. Yo and Noyes, 2015, found that relationship satisfaction increases when partners respond constructively to emotional cues. Their studies showed that couples who could accurately recognize facial expressions of negative emotions were less likely to escalate conflicts. Think about how impactful that is. Something as small as recognizing frustration in partners' faces can change the entire direction of a conversation. In Jared's case, because he misses Lena's nonverbal cues, he jumps into advice mode instead of comfort. Lena feels dismissed even though Jared's intention is positive. This leads to listening, which is more than just hearing words. Listening means being fully present and aligning verbal and nonverbal communication. McGinty, Knox, and Zussman, 2003, found that people in more involved relationships actively work to make sure their nonverbal behaviors match their words, and this alignment leads to greater satisfaction. Think about how often words and body language can contradict each other. Jared says, "I care about you," but if his tone is flat, his arms are crossed, and his eyes keep drifting to his phone, Lena won't feel cared for. Active listening requires open posture, steady eye contact, nodding, and verbal reflections like, "That sounds really overwhelming." These small actions create an atmosphere of empathy and connection. So how can Jared and Lena improve? For Jared, removing distractions, put away the phone, and give Lena his full attention, using empathetic reflections like, "I can see how much this is weighing on you," instead of jumping straight into solutions, and paying attention to Lena's facial expressions and tone. They are often the clearest indicators of her emotional needs. For Lena, be direct about your expectations by saying, "I just need you to listen right now." Recognize that Jared's problem-solving style isn't a lack of care. It reflects the way he was raised to show love. For both of them, set aside intentional distraction-free time for emotional check-ins. After important conversations, ask questions like, did you feel heard, or did I respond in a way that was helpful? This encourages growth and ensures both feel supported. And while Jared and Lena's example is specific, these principles apply to all close relationships. In friendships, family connections, and even professional settings, context shapes how we interpret messages. Emotions signal needs that go beyond words, and listening creates the foundation for trust. Think about your own experiences. Have you ever left a conversation feeling frustrated, not because of what was said, but because of how it was said, or because you didn't feel truly listened to? Most of us have. Recognizing that disconnect between words and nonverbal cues can be the first step in improving how we communicate with the people we care about. To wrap up, context shapes expectations, emotions communicate needs, and effective listening, both verbal and nonverbal, strengthens connections. Research supports this, aligning verbal and nonverbal communication, McGinty and al., 2003, and recognizing emotional expressions, Yo and Noyes, 2015. Both lead to a healthier communication and stronger relational satisfaction for Jared and Lena and for all of us. The challenge is the same, to not just hear words, but to listen with empathy, align our actions with our intentions, and adapt our communication to needs of those we love. When we do that, relationships move from places of frustration and miscommunication to spaces of trust, understanding, and lasting closeness. Thank you, guys.